calls me local media personality on the internet. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for coming tonight, and it's mine and Mark's pleasure. A couple of months ago that we met Charlie for the first time. We went to his own built house in Chorley, and he regaled us with some fantastic memories. And Charlie, if you could just let everyone know, who were the standout players from that season? And 10 others.
Oh, a lot of them, yeah. Everyone, yeah. They're all good players. Yeah.
Now, you played in that great 7-4 victory over Chelsea, and there was a fantastic player playing for Chelsea that season, but he never scored past you, did he?
Tommy Lord, yeah. Tommy Lord, Laurie Hughes, good Tommy Lord, he never got a kick. Put him out of the game.
Are there any other players who stood out that season? I mean, I know you played a couple of games, and Bob Paisley was a fantastic fullback, wasn't he?
Yeah. They were all good players anyway. Yeah, they were all good players. Billy Fagan, he was a good player.
Captain. Yeah. Phil Taylor, he was a classy centre.
Taylor, yeah. Ray Lambert.
Ray Lambert only passed away in October, so everyone knows, and yeah, you'll see him later on. Thanks very much, Charlie.
It's particularly familiar to Liverpool fans of a certain age, and it was brought along by a man who certainly knows a thing or two about the history of our great club, and of course talking about Stephen Dome, the curator of the Anfield Museum, and who kindly wrote the foreword for this book. Stephen, why is this trophy and that season so special?
Well, there's a number of reasons, I think. I mean, obviously, hindsight counts for something, but football basically stopped in 1939 because of the war. I mean, there was wartime football, but not sort of in the sense that we know it. So people have been waiting a very long time. So this was 46-47 season was the first full season of proper football, if you like, since August 1939. And it was amazing that Liverpool should be the team, of course, that lifted it. I mean, it's a very beautiful trophy, and they lifted it for the 5th time. And we do have a tendency, I think, sometimes to always think in terms of Liverpool Football Club of Bill Shankly and what happens afterwards. But we mustn't forget, Liverpool was a great team before Bill Shankly. This was the 5th league championship that we'd won. And I think the whole season brought the kind of much-needed optimism and hope and joy to very straitened and difficult lives, actually, after the war. And Liverpool was very badly affected by the war. So, you know, it's hard to sort of put yourself in those times. And we have somebody here who, of course, knew what it was like, and I certainly didn't. But I think it's just something very special about that whole period for me. I've always found it deeply fascinating, possibly because it's so far removed from football as we know it now in some ways. The world's very different, you know, so I find it very interesting, really.
So just tell us how excited you were when you found out that Gary and Mark were setting to write this book.
Well, perhaps it's just me, but I've always had a fascination with this particular period, and I've always thought that this was a season that should be written about. People should know about it. It was just myself and my good friend Adrian, who's out in the audience there. We've always had a thing about it, and so I was absolutely thrilled that other people share my passion for this particular season. And I say in the forward, I think it is one of Liverpool's greatest seasons. It had absolutely everything. Liverpool didn't run away with it. They weren't 20 points ahead of everyone else. They had to scrap right to the end. At times they played brilliantly, but at times they didn't play brilliantly. It went to the wire. Not only did it go to the wire, it didn't go to the wire in May, it went to the wire in June. In fact, not only did it do that, it went while Liverpool were playing Everton in the Liverpool Senior Cup. I mean, it does not get any more exciting than that. If you're going to win a league, win by 1 point when it's right on the edge of your seat. And also it was vindication of the abilities of this great side, because there is a tendency for us to dwell too much on the 50s, which were a bit dark for Liverpool, and we did end up in the 2nd division. But that gives you the wrong impression. We had some wonderful players in 46, 47, as good as you could ever want. So it's great that they wrote this wonderful book.
Okay, thanks very much, Stephen.
Thanks. Wasn't that fantastic? Matt Owen, put your hand up, Matt, wherever you are. Give me a round of applause. Fantastic.